Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Luke Thornton on Talking College Football. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about the Dan. You lead us off on this. You're the U of I guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, Illinois and Duke, both teams looked rough early on. Duke started off scoring, and then Illinois returned. But especially in that first half, I think overall it was a very impressive game for Illinois, even though they had some struggles. Um, but they did not look good in the first half. They were winning at the end of the first, but if you looked at the total yardage, they were down to Duke. But the second half, they really impressed, and I think the fact that they didn't play their best game and they still came out 26 points above. They capitalized on Duke's mistakes. Duke had a lot of self-inflicted issues, and Illinois took advantage of that. That's what good teams do. Even on they played a good team, and even on their worst day, maybe they were able to take advantage of that and put in a big win on the road.
The game was definitely much closer than the final box score turned out to be. The final box score was 45-19. Important thing to note: Duke had 4 turnovers. That's not exactly sustainable, to keep winning that way. But we have to give Illinois some credit, and that the turnovers that they did force. So one of them was a muff fumble, so that's completely Duke's fault. But the other 3, Illinois is punching at the ball. Illinois had an interception, and that being an orange and blue team from Illinois kind of reminds you of those early Bears teams with the whole peanut punch. And I saw that a lot out of Illinois. They seemed like they were really going for the ball. Luke Altmyer looked great today. Very comfortable in the pocket. Was hitting his wide receivers and not just short throws down the field. He was completing passes down the field, which you're not used to for an Illinois team. In the past, when you think of Illinois football, you think run it down their throat. You think big running backs. But Illinois kind of launched down the field, and I was kind of impressed to see that. Maybe Illinois might have a little bit better wide receiver play than we expected. Their defense looked great, honestly, with forcing all those turnovers. I saw a little bit of struggle with the offensive line, trying to protect Luke Altmyer, but I think the experience from Luke Altmyer kind of overcame that. He was pressured, but he was making those throws. And, I think that's what, we were just talking about Michigan. And if Bryce Underwood had more experience, even if he was feeling pressure in the pocket, he can make those throws. And that's what Luke Altmyer did today. Still felt pressure, was still making the throws. That's big time, and that shows an experienced quarterback. So I was impressed with Illinois.
So here's what I saw. I mean, I'm looking at this Illinois. It's Brett Bielema. You're expecting this great offensive line, and especially I was looking at Olin Kreutz's son, who plays center for them. It took them a whole half to get going, and I got to tell you, Altmyer, he put that team on his back, because if he doesn't play the way he does, they lose that ball game. He carried that team. Man, they got this one running back. What is his name? Land or something like that? Huh? Fegan, yeah, Fegan. 6'3", 255. That's a big boy, man. So you expect him to be able to run, but you could, like you said, you guys both said the same thing. Altmyer, you could tell he's a senior quarterback. He's seen it all in college. He's probably done it all, but he put that team on his back. I thought that you guys had some good takes. Did anybody get a chance to check out the KU Missouri game by any chance?
Yeah, I watched the highlights. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to share them briefly?
I did. I saw the end of that one. Yeah. That was a great game for what I saw. I was keeping track of it while I was watching other games.
Prisbola, the backup from he was back last year's backup at Penn State. He's the one that left during the playoffs to go to the new school, and I thought he played really well.
Oh, he played great. He played great. Yeah, Missouri has an explosive offense, and actually, we were talking about the Cyhawk game earlier with Iowa and Iowa State. This was almost the exact opposite. There's 2 games that were almost the exact opposite of that Iowa and Iowa State game. There was this Kansas-Missouri game, And then there's the Baylor SMU game, which is just all offense. And this game was all offense. The final score ended up being 42-31. Perbula looked great. Like, you have to be, if you're a Missouri fan, you have to be optimistic, especially since you know, they have one of the easier schedules in the SEC. I'm not saying that it's a weak schedule. They're still playing an SEC schedule, but in terms of the
SEC fans are gonna love you.
I,
They're gonna love you.
but still, it's easier. It's easier. They don't have the toughest SEC schedule. Honestly, is Missouri a team that, like, I'm not saying they're gonna win the SEC or anything, but are these one? Could Missouri be one of these bubble playoff teams, just kind of sneaking in there at the end?
Oh, I certainly
I could
think
see
so.
Missouri finishing a 10-2, a 9-3, and be like looking at the playoffs, a bubble team. Um, so yeah, I mean, really, I think with that game, especially with how good Kansas was looking, we got to talk about the Big 12. Obviously, the Big 12 had a terrible week this week. Horrific week, except Iowa and Iowa State. But really, though, I don't know what to say about the Big 12. And like we said, when we talk about this Arizona State game, and as an Oklahoma State alum, tough weekend for me. But yeah.
It happens. Let's spend a few seconds talking about Oklahoma State. Ever since,
Oh,
well, let's be honest. The money walked. Listen, when T. Boone Pickens passed away, the money left. Okay, so apparently they can't compete in the NIL space right now. And when you play against somebody like Oregon, when Phil Knight and Nike are pumping that money in there, they get the best there is. So, and you hate to say that, but I think Gundy is the second most tenured coach in college football, right behind Ferentz, correct? Or no,
yeah,
or
and
him or Winningham.
Whittingham's up there.
Whittingham's
Up there too.
second
Yeah.
then, but he's top three. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time that a lot of these old school coaches, they don't want to work in the NIL space. So I don't know. I don't know what the excuse is. All I know is that 2 years ago, this was a team that was on the verge of making to the playoffs and at least winning the Big 12 at the time. And now all of a sudden, like you had last year, and now you're off to this terrible start that they are off and getting beat 69-3. That's horrible. But when it comes to this show, when we talk about a team, we're not saying I like Notre Dame, I like Ohio State, I like Michigan. We're saying we like college football. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I want you to look at our preseason show where you can see that. And I want you to look at our week one, see how consistent we've been as a panel and those people who vote for us. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again next Thursday at 10 a.m. That's when this show will air.